My ex-wife's husband stole my seat at my son's graduation. Then his wife laughed in my face. What happened next is something none of them saw coming. My name is Jason Reed. I'm 47 years old. And for 18 years, my life revolved around one person. My son, Noah. If you're a parent, you know the feeling. The moment your child is born, your life stops being about you. Every decision, every sacrifice, every late night, it all becomes about them. When Noah was 7, his mother and I divorced. It wasn't dramatic. No screaming matches. No police. No scandals. Just two people who realized they wanted different lives. At least that's what everyone thought. The truth was simpler. When things got difficult, I stayed. She moved on. At first, custody was split evenly. Then came the missed weekends, the canceled visits, the last-minute excuses. Eventually, Noah was spending most of his time with me. And honestly, I didn't mind. I loved being his dad. What I didn't love was how hard life became afterward. I worked maintenance at a manufacturing plant during the day. At night, I repaired lawn mowers, washing machines, and air conditioners for extra money. Some weeks I barely slept. There were nights I'd get home after midnight and still wake up at 5 the next morning. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. Kids aren't cheap, especially smart kids. And Noah was incredibly smart. By middle school, he was already taking advanced classes. By high school, he was tutoring other students. Teachers loved him. Coaches respected him. Even adults who barely knew him would tell me the same thing. That kid is going places. Every time someone said that, I felt proud enough to forget how tired I was. Then my ex-wife remarried. Her husband was named Trevor. Trevor was the kind of guy who measured success by how expensive something looked. Luxury SUV, designer watches, golf memberships. Everything had to scream money. At first, I tried to get along with him, for Noah's sake. But Trevor had a habit of making everything about himself. If Noah won an award, Trevor posted about it online. If Noah got accepted into a program, Trevor somehow found a way to take credit. The guy wanted applause for showing up, and unfortunately, his wife Madison wasn't much different. Madison lived on social media. Every family dinner became a photo shoot. Every holiday became content. Every moment needed an audience. The worst part? She constantly tried to present herself as Noah's parent, not step-parent. Parent, there is a difference. And Noah noticed it too. One year she posted a long Mother's Day message online talking about the challenges of raising a teenage son. The only problem? She'd known Noah for less than 2 years. I never said anything publicly. Neither did Noah. But I could tell it bothered him. Over time, things became awkward, not explosive. Just awkward, little comments, little competitions, little reminders that Madison wanted everyone to see her as something she wasn't. I ignored it because Noah was months away from graduation, and I wasn't about to let adult drama ruin one of the most important days of his life. The morning of graduation, Noah called me before sunrise. Dad. His voice sounded unusually serious. Can you get there early today? I laughed. When have I ever been late? I'm serious. I know. There was a pause. Then he said something strange. Just make sure you're sitting where you're supposed to be. I frowned. What does that mean? You'll see. Then he hung up. A few hours later, I met him outside the school. Cap, gown, big smile. For a moment, I forgot he was 18. All I could see was the little boy who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during long car rides. He hugged me tightly, then pointed toward the auditorium. 3rd row, center section. I smiled. Reserved seating? For the most important person here. I laughed, but Noah didn't. He looked directly at me, completely serious. No, Dad, I'm serious. Something about the way he said it stayed with me. I should have paid attention, because 20 minutes later, when I walked into the auditorium, someone else was already sitting in that seat, and they weren't planning on moving. When I walked into the auditorium, the first thing I did was look for my seat. 3rd row, center section, exactly where Noah had told me. At first, I thought I was in the wrong place, because someone was already sitting there. Then I looked closer. Trevor. right in my seat, and beside him sat Madison, both smiling, both completely comfortable, like they belonged there. I stopped in the aisle and stared. Maybe there had been a mistake. Maybe Noah had accidentally pointed me to the wrong row. Then I noticed something. The name cards attached to the seats. One read, Trevor Morgan. The other read, Madison Morgan. My stomach tightened. That wasn't right. Noah had personally shown me those seats earlier. I started walking toward them. Hey, Trevor, I said. He looked up casually. Oh, Jason. His tone sounded almost amused. I pointed at the chair. That's my seat. Before he could answer, Madison laughed. A short, smug little laugh. The kind people use when they're enjoying themselves a little too much. Actually, she said, these seats were assigned to us. I looked at her. Noah reserved them for me. Madison shrugged. Plans change. Something about the way she said it immediately told me this wasn't an accident. She knew exactly what she was doing. I turned toward Trevor, waiting for him to say something. Anything. Tell her to stop. Offer the seat. Acknowledge reality. Instead, he avoided eye contact. That told me everything. He knew, too. My jaw tightened. For a second, I considered making a scene, demanding answers, calling over a staff member. But then I imagined Noah walking into the auditorium and seeing his graduation turn into an argument. No chance. Not happening. Not on his day. An usher appeared beside me. Young guy. Nervous. Probably working his first big school event. Sir, he said quietly, can I help you? I pointed at the seat. There seems to be some confusion. The usher checked a clipboard. Then his expression changed. Not surprised. Uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Actually, sir. He hesitated. Those seats are assigned now. Assigned now. Interesting choice of words. Not originally. Now. Meaning somebody had changed something. I looked back at Madison. She smiled. Then she leaned toward Trevor and whispered something. Both of them laughed. That was when I knew this had been planned. Carefully planned. The usher shifted awkwardly. There is standing room near the back. I glanced toward the rear wall of the auditorium, the furthest possible spot from the stage, the worst view in the entire building. Madison noticed me looking. Then she did something I'll never forget. She turned around completely, looked directly at me, and smiled. Not a friendly smile, not a polite smile, a victory smile. The kind people wear when they think they've beaten you. Then she lifted her phone, held it up casually, and pointed the camera straight at me. Recording. I couldn't believe it. She was actually filming my reaction, trying to turn this into content, trying to capture the moment she thought she had humiliated me. For a second, anger flashed through me. Real anger. The kind I hadn't felt in years. But I pushed it down, because people like Madison survive on reactions. They need them. Without drama, they have nothing. So I smiled, a calm, polite smile. Then I turned around and walked to the back of the auditorium. Behind me, I could practically feel her disappointment. She wanted a confrontation. She wanted a scene. She didn't get one. I took my place against the back wall. From there, I could still see the stage. Not perfectly, but enough. Families continued filling the seats. Students lined up near the entrance. Teachers organized programs. The ceremony was about to begin. Then the graduates started walking in, and that's when I saw Noah. He looked happy at first, until he glanced toward the third row, toward the seats he had personally reserved, toward Trevor, toward Madison. Then his eyes found me, standing against the back wall. The smile disappeared from his face instantly, not dramatically, just enough for a father to notice. Then something else appeared, a look I had seen before, only a few times, usually right before someone discovered they had seriously underestimated him. Noah looked at me for 1 second, then looked back at Madison, and suddenly I had a feeling she was about to regret everything. The ceremony began a few minutes later. Students filled the stage. Parents pulled out phones. Teachers took their seats. And I stayed exactly where I was, against the back wall, the furthest spot from the stage, the spot Madison had decided I deserved. At least that's what she thought. I kept telling myself the same thing. This day wasn't about me. It was about Noah. Nothing else mattered. Not the seat, not Trevor, not Madison, just Noah. The principal stepped up to the podium and welcomed everyone. Then the award started. Academic honors, scholarships, leadership awards. Every few minutes, Noah's name came up again. The kid was practically collecting achievements. Every time his name was called, the crowd applauded, and every time I felt the same thing. Pride. The kind of pride that makes all the hard years feel worth it. I noticed something else, too. Whenever Noah walked across the stage, he never looked toward the third row. Not once. Instead, his eyes kept drifting toward the back, toward me. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining it. Then it happened again, and again, and again. Even from across the auditorium, I could tell something was on his mind. Meanwhile, Madison seemed completely relaxed. She kept taking pictures, recording videos, posting updates. Every few minutes, she would hold her phone up and smile for camera, like she was the star of the event. Trevor wasn't much better. He sat there acting like Noah's accomplishments somehow belonged to him. The whole thing made my stomach turn, but I stayed quiet. Then the principal returned to the microphone. The room slowly settled down. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, "it is my honor to introduce this year's valedictorian." The audience erupted. Parents cheered. Students whistled. Teachers smiled. And then I heard the name, Noah Reed. For a moment, everything disappeared. The noise, the crowd, the auditorium, all of it. I just stood there staring. Noah never told me. Not once. Not a single hint. Valedictorian. The top student in his entire graduating class. My knees almost gave out. I felt tears trying to form, but I pushed them back. Not here. Not yet. The applause continued as Noah walked toward the podium. Confident, calm, focused. The principal shook his hand, then stepped aside. The room became quiet. 600 people waiting to hear one speech. Noah unfolded a piece of paper. Looked down. Read the first line silently. Then stopped. Something wasn't right. He stared at the paper for several seconds. Long enough that people started shifting in their seats. Then he folded it. Once, twice, and slipped it into his pocket. A murmur spread through the audience. Even the teachers looked confused. Noah stepped closer to the microphone. His expression had completely changed. This wasn't the face of a nervous graduate. This was the face of someone making a decision, a very deliberate decision. "I prepared a speech for today," he said. His voice echoed through the auditorium. Calm, steady, clear. The room went silent. "I spent weeks writing it." Another pause. "But I'm not giving that speech anymore." People exchanged confused looks. The principal frowned slightly. Teachers sat forward. Even Madison lowered her phone. Noah looked across the audience. His eyes moved through hundreds of faces until they landed directly on the third row, on Trevor, on Madison, and suddenly Madison stopped smiling. For the first time all day, her confidence cracked. Just a little, but enough, because somehow she knew this was about her. And so did Noah. Noah stood at the podium. 600 people stared at him, waiting, confused, silent. Even the teachers looked uncertain. Valedictorians don't throw away their speeches. They read them. They thank their families. They talk about the future. Then they graduate. That's how it's supposed to work. But Noah wasn't following the script. He looked down at the folded paper in his pocket, then back at the audience. "I spent weeks writing a speech about success," he said, "about hard work, about goals." He paused. "But this morning something happened that made me realize I should talk about something else." The room became even quieter. I could hear people shifting in their seats. I could hear the air conditioning humming above us. Nobody knew where this was going. Nobody except Noah. His eyes drifted toward the third row again, toward Madison, toward Trevor. Madison's smile was completely gone now. She lowered her phone slowly. Noah took a breath. "Everyone here sees a finished product." He gestured toward himself. "The grades, the awards, the scholarship offers." A few people nodded, but almost nobody sees what happens behind the scenes. I felt something tighten in my chest, because suddenly I knew exactly who he was talking about. There are people who show up for pictures. Noah's voice remained calm. There are people who show up when things are already going well. His eyes moved toward Trevor. The audience followed, heads turning one after another. Trevor shifted uncomfortably. For the first time all day, he looked nervous. Then Noah pointed toward the back of the auditorium. Not dramatically, just a simple gesture. Toward me, standing against the wall. Then there are people who show up when nobody is watching. Every head in the room turned. Every single one. I felt hundreds of eyes land on me at once. I wanted to disappear, but I couldn't move. Noah continued. The people who sit beside you in hospital waiting rooms. The people who work extra hours so you can stay in school programs. The people who miss sleep so you never have to worry. I felt my throat tighten. Noah wasn't looking at anyone else anymore. Only me. When I was 12, I wanted to quit robotics because we couldn't afford the travel costs. A few teachers exchanged glances. I didn't know my dad sold his guitar to pay for that season. A murmur spread through the audience. I froze. I never told him that. Not once. Noah smiled slightly. I found out 3 years later. A few people laughed softly. Then Noah's expression became serious again. When I was 14, he worked 2 jobs for almost 8 months so I could attend a summer engineering program. Another pause. He never complained. The room was completely silent. Then Noah looked directly at the third row, and everything changed. This morning, his voice hardened. Someone decided the person responsible for all of that didn't deserve his seat. The audience immediately became tense. Madison's face went pale. Trevor stared straight ahead. Neither moved. Neither spoke. Noah reached into his gown pocket. My stomach dropped, because whatever he was about to pull out, he had planned this. Weeks ago, maybe longer, he unfolded a small piece of white cardstock, held it up, and even from the back of the auditorium, I recognized it immediately. It was my reserved seat card, the one that had mysteriously disappeared, the one with my name printed on it, except now it had been torn cleanly in half. A wave of whispers spread through the crowd. Teachers leaned forward. Parents exchanged confused looks. The principal looked completely stunned. Noah held the torn card higher. Then he said 5 words that changed the entire room. I know exactly who did it. And suddenly, Madison looked like she wanted to disappear. The entire auditorium went silent. No whispers. No movement. Nothing. 600 people staring at Noah. And Noah staring directly at Madison. She looked frozen. The confidence she'd carried all morning was gone. No smile. No phone. No clever comment. Just panic. Noah held up the torn seat card for everyone to see. My dad was supposed to be sitting in the 3rd row today. His voice remained calm, controlled, the kind of calm that's far more dangerous than shouting. He was supposed to be sitting there because he earned it. The audience stayed silent. He earned it when he worked double shifts. He earned it when he drove me to competitions 3 hours away. He earned it when he stayed awake, helping me study before exams. Every word landed harder than the last. Then Noah looked directly at Trevor. You know who didn't earn it? Trevor's face immediately turned red. People around him started shifting in their seats, some slowly moving away from him, as if they didn't want to be associated with what was happening. Then Noah looked at Madison and delivered the sentence nobody saw coming. This morning, somebody thought a reserved seat mattered more than 18 years of sacrifice. The room erupted into whispers. Madison stood up abruptly. That's enough. Her voice shook. Noah didn't even acknowledge her. Instead, he looked toward the principal, then toward the audience, then finally back at me. My dad spent 18 years teaching me something. A pause. Character matters when nobody is watching. The room became silent again. Apparently, some people never learned that lesson. A few students laughed. Several parents nodded. Madison looked like she wanted the floor to open beneath her. Trevor finally stood up. But Noah cut him off. For the first time all day, his voice became sharp. No. The entire auditorium froze. No speeches. No excuses. No pretending. Another pause. Then Noah pointed toward me. The actual father who raised him. The actual parent who had been there. The actual reason he was standing on that stage. Everything I've accomplished happened because of him. I felt tears forming. Real tears. The kind you can't stop. The kind you don't want to stop. Noah smiled. Not at Trevor. Not at Madison. At me. When people ask who raised me. He paused. I only have one answer. The audience started applauding. Slowly at first. Then louder. And louder. Until the entire auditorium was on its feet. Teachers. Students. Parents. Everyone. Standing. Clapping. Cheering. For me. I stood there completely stunned. After 18 years of sacrifice, after 18 years of putting my son first, I finally understood something. He had noticed everything. Every late night, every extra shift, every sacrifice I thought had gone unseen. He noticed. All of it. Noah waited for the applause to settle, then reached up and removed his graduation cap. Written across the top in bold white letters were 7 words. My dad deserved the front row. The crowd exploded again. People were crying. Teachers were wiping tears from their eyes. Even the principal looked emotional. Meanwhile, Trevor sat down, defeated. And Madison? She quietly grabbed her purse and walked toward the exit. Nobody stopped her. Nobody followed her. Nobody cared. For the first time all day, she wasn't the center of attention. Noah finished his speech a minute later. Not with anger. Not with revenge, but with gratitude, the kind that can't be faked, the kind that comes from 18 years of love. After the ceremony, hundreds of people came over to congratulate Noah. Many of them congratulated me too. Teachers shared stories I had never heard. Parents told me how much they respected my son. One teacher pulled me aside and said something I'll never forget. Good kids don't happen by accident. That afternoon, Noah and I took pictures together outside the school. Just the 2 of us. No drama. No arguments. No attention seekers. Just a father and his son. As we were leaving, Noah wrapped an arm around my shoulder. You know something, Dad? What? He smiled. I never care where you Saturday. I laughed. Then why all this? He looked back at the auditorium, then at me, because people should never forget who helped them get there. And honestly, that was worth more than any seat in the building.